Let's explore the fascinating tale of a scientist determined to reunite with his late wife by journeying through countless parallel universes. Each universe he visits is unique. Some resemble our own, while others are vastly different, even having their own rules of physics. As he travels, he manipulates time differently in these varied worlds. Can this scientist overcome the complex challenges of time travel and the paradoxes it creates? Will he ever find a universe where he can be with his wife again? Join us in uncovering this extraordinary story. The story unfolds with Dylan, a scientist overwhelmed by grief after the sudden loss of his wife, Andre. Just days ago, they had shared a normal morning, but tragedy struck on her way to work and she never returned. Devastated, Dylan retreats from the world, his work, and the lab that once fueled his passion. After several days of isolation, Dylan's mentor, Dr. Yamamoto, visits him, urging him to join him for dinner to discuss something important. At the restaurant, Dr. Moto suggests that Dylan should try to move past his sorrow and return to the lab, emphasizing that Andre's gone and won't return. But Dylan is adamant, declaring his intention to never set foot in the lab again, his spirit seemingly broken. Dr. Moto, sensing Dylan's profound loss, then reveals they have been exploring the parallel universe theory at the lab. He suggests that Dylan's expertise in physics could be crucial to their research. More intriguingly, he hints that this work might offer Dylan a way to cope or even reconnect with memories of his wife. The possibility that countless other universes might exist where Andre is still alive sparks a flicker of hope in Dylan. Motivated by the chance of an alternate reality where Andre might still exist, Dylan agrees to return to the lab. He becomes driven by the possibility of navigating these parallel universes, seeking a version of his life where tragedy had not struck, and perhaps in one of those infinite realities, finding his Andre alive. With a newfound hope, Dylan eagerly returned to the lab, immersing himself in research. He delved into the complexities of quantum fields, wormholes, time dilation, and the decoherence process, meticulously analyzing each formula. After several intense weeks of work, Dylan made a groundbreaking discovery. He found evidence supporting the existence of alternate universes beyond our own. Fueled by this breakthrough, Dylan dedicated himself to finding a method to traverse these other dimensions. His relentless effort finally bore fruit, opening the door to interuniversal travel. Excited by his findings, Dylan presented his new theory to Dr. Yamamoto. He explained that their research confirmed the multiverse theory, revealing countless Earths, some mirroring our own, and others vastly different. Dylan proposed a daring real-world experiment inspired by the thought experiment involving Schrodinger's cat. In the original scenario, a cat is placed in a box with a poison that could be released, leading to two possible outcomes. The cat emerges alive or dead. Dylan suggested a twist on this experiment. By substituting himself for the cat and harnessing quantum energy, he believed he could create two versions of himself. One might perish in this universe, but the other could successfully travel to a parallel universe. This alternate version would theoretically continue to survive and transition from one universe to another each time. However, Dr. Moto urgently cautioned Dylan against conducting this experiment. He warned that even if Dylan managed to travel to another parallel universe, the fabric of space-time in that reality might not accept an outsider. Such a disruption could lead to catastrophic consequences, potentially leading to the gradual destabilization and eventual destruction of that universe. After leaving Dr. Moto, Dylan couldn't shake off his obsession with reuniting with his wife. He secretly began assembling a quantum device at home, using parts he discreetly borrowed from the lab and others he purchased. A crucial component of his setup was a gun, which he acquired in black from a local store. As Dylan arrived home with the newly acquired gun, a masked assailant suddenly attacked him from behind. The confrontation resulted in Dylan's quantum device being damaged. Dylan tried to chase the masked man, but was overpowered and knocked to the ground. Just as it seemed the attacker might strike again, he abruptly fled the scene. The identity of this mysterious aggressor remained unknown. With his device broken, Dylan remembered that Dr. Moto possessed a similar machine. He rushed to Moto's residence, only to discover the same masked man was there too. Tragically, the encounter escalated quickly, and Dr. Moto was fatally shot. The assailant fired at Dylan as well, but missed, allowing Dylan to escape with the crucial component he needed from Moto's device. Back at his workshop, Dylan completed assembling his quantum machine despite the risks. Understanding the high stakes of his experiment, that he might die in this universe without assurance of awakening in another, he proceeded, driven by the chance to see his wife again. Dylan activated the machine and used the gun on himself. willing to pay the ultimate price for a chance at reunion. To Dylan's astonishment, the experiment appeared successful. He found himself in a laboratory that seemed subtly different from his own, proof he had indeed traveled to a parallel universe. In this new reality, Dylan realized that every time he dies, he would transition to another universe, effectively escaping death permanently. Continuing his journey through the multiverse, Dylan tested his device repeatedly. Each death propelled him into a new parallel universe, each subtly or dramatically different from the last. Notably, Dylan observed that time in each universe was slightly misaligned with his original world. Sometimes he moved days into the future or past. In one such universe, Dylan experienced a moment of joy when he spotted Andre alive, a sight that rekindled his purpose. However, he could only watch her from afar, aware that another version of himself already existed in this universe. Complicating matters further, Dylan realized the possibility that in this universe time could be reversing, and Andre's fatal accident might still be looming in the future. Determined to alter this universe's course, Dylan decided to stay and prevent Andre's impending accident. As he surveilled her, he once again encountered the enigmatic masked man, this time carrying a large bag. Recognizing him as his attacker from previous universes, Dylan gave chase. The pursuit led to a tense confrontation where the masked man, momentarily distracted, fired at Dylan before fleeing, leaving behind his mysterious bag. Dylan's resolve to uncover the identity of his persistent foe grew stronger. He tracked the masked man to a secluded spot. In a snap decision, Dylan shot the man. As he approached to unmask him, the assailant unexpectedly levitated, defying the gravitational laws Dylan knew, a stark reminder of the varied physics across universes. Before Dylan could process this anomaly, the masked man fatally shot him, triggering another shift to a new universe due to Dylan's now immortal nature. In this new universe, Dylan was relieved to find no trace of the mysterious masked man, leading him to seek out Dr. Yamamoto, who was still alive here. He inquired whether it was conceivable for someone to defy gravity and fly in any universe. Dr. Moto explained that such phenomena were nearly impossible, but could occur if a universe was on the brink of colliding with another, rendering the laws of physics temporarily void. This alarming possibility made Dylan ponder the ramifications of his interuniversal travels. Could his actions be destabilizing the very fabric of these universes? Despite these fears, his longing for Andre overshadowed all other concerns. Driven by his desire to reunite with his wife, Dylan resolved to take drastic measures. In this universe, Dylan devised a dark plan to eliminate his alternate self and assume his life, thus being with Andre. Armed with a gun, he entered his own home in the new universe while his other self was in the bathroom. Confronting his duplicate, who also possessed a gun, Dylan acted first, eliminating his counterpart. He planned to dispose of the body by cutting it up and packing it into a suitcase. As Dylan was about to proceed with this grim task, the masked man unexpectedly appeared again, only to flee upon spotting Dylan. Now the enigma of the masked man deepened. Why was he present in this universe as well? And why did he persistently chase Dylan? The unfolding mystery promised to reveal more about the masked man's motives and the deeper consequences of Dylan's quest through the multiverses. Once again, Dylan pursued the elusive masked man, this time into an old building. Unfortunately, Dylan had exhausted his ammunition, leaving him vulnerable. The masked man took advantage of this and fatally shot Dylan. As he succumbed to his injuries, Dylan transitioned to another universe, leaving behind a perplexing scene in the previous one: two dead Dylans, a mystery that would surely baffle the local police. In this new reality, Dylan discovered he was alone on a rooftop. Descending, he learned that his counterpart in this universe would be absent for the evening. Seizing the opportunity, he assumed his own identity and reunited with Andre. Overwhelmed with happiness, Dylan spent a wonderful night with her, all his actions seemingly justified by this moment. Andre suspected nothing. She believed this Dylan was truly her own. As morning arrived and Andre left for work, Dylan, haunted by the fear of encountering the masked man again, cautiously took a gun with him to the bathroom. In a shocking twist, another Dylan burst into the bathroom. Before the original could react, this new Dylan shot him. Dying, Dylan transitioned yet again to a different universe. In this relentless cycle, Dylan realized he was caught in a complex paradox. The act of killing a version of himself in the bathroom mirrored an incident he himself had perpetrated days earlier in another universe. This revelation underscored the depth of his entanglement. Not only was he hopping between parallel universes, but he was also navigating through time as each universe's timeline varied. This recursive loop of events, marked by violence and confusion, was a direct result of Dylan's own actions, forming a self-created paradox that entwined his fate across across multiple dimensions. Dylan steps into a new universe only to discover that his wife Andre has already passed away in this world too. He finds the same type of quantum machine in his house that he's been using to travel between universes. But as he examines it, the Dylan from this universe suddenly attacks him. In the ensuing struggle, the machine gets damaged. This scene is familiar. It's the same one we saw at the start of our story. In a twist, it's revealed that the mysterious masked man is actually Dylan himself from the future. He's been hopping through parallel universes and traveling back and forth in time. After the scuffle, this future Dylan escapes and seeks out Dr. Yamamoto for help, hoping to fix the chaos he's caused. In their meeting, Dylan confesses to Dr. Moto that he is from the future and has been jumping between different universes. This has led to several paradoxes, complicated problems in time that are hard to solve. He desperately asks how he can resolve these issues and find a way to be with his wife again. Dr. Moto warns him about the dangers of his actions. He explains that traveling repeatedly between universes could lead to their destruction, endangering countless lives. Despite the dire warning, Dylan is stubborn and fixated on finding a way to reunite with Andre. In a desperate move, he decides that no cost is too high for the chance to be with her again. He argues that he should be allowed to manipulate the multiverse to his benefit, and in a shocking turn, he kills Dr. Moto to prevent him from interfering. This entire tragic scene is witnessed by Dylan from the past, watching from outside, just like in the beginning of our story. Then, just as before, Dylan shoots at his past self and flees the scene. He uses the remains of the broken machine to jump to another universe, continuing his relentless and dangerous quest through the multiverse in search of a place where he can finally be with his lost love, Andre. In this new universe, Dylan discovers that his living quarters are intact, signaling that Andre is still alive. Overwhelmed with relief and joy, he picks up some flowers and goes to meet her, grateful for the opportunity to see the woman for whom he has traversed countless universes. However, Dylan is acutely aware of the complexities his actions have caused. He realizes that the version of himself observing from behind, the one seen at the start of the story, was actually his future self. This recognition confirms that he's deeply entangled in a paradox involving time travel and repeated journeys to previously visited universes. Returning home, Dylan faces a startling reality. Inside, there are two other Dylans. One has murdered the other in the bathroom, a scene that has already unfolded in a previous universe. It becomes clear that every instance of the masked man was indeed Dylan from various points in the future. Now, in a dramatic turn of events, the past Dylan, who had been observing these actions, decides to confront the present Dylan. The chase leads to the roof of an old building. Here, in a moment of high tension, the past Dylan runs out of bullets. In a grim repetition of violence, the current Dylan, in a desperate bid to end the cycle, kills the past Dylan on the rooftop, just as he has done before. But this time, as he descends from the building, another version of his past self emerges and fatally shoots him. This deadly encounter is exactly what we witnessed at the beginning of the story, marking a haunting return to where it all started. Once again, Dylan finds himself in a new universe. Upon arriving home, he discovers the corpse of another Dylan, one he had killed in a previous universe. Determined to erase the evidence of his actions, he dismembers the body, packs it into a bag, and sets out to dispose of it. However, as he attempts this grim task, he notices yet another past Dylan trailing him. This scene too has played out before, but now we're experiencing it from the perspective of the current Dylan. In a frantic attempt to evade this relentless pursuit, current Dylan finds himself cornered in a dark alley. There he witnesses a surreal scene. The past Dylan fatally shoots another Dylan. Amid this chaos, due to the constant manipulation of universe hopping, the laws of physics begin to unravel, allowing Dylan to unexpectedly levitate, echoing an earlier moment in the story where physics seemed altered. This extraordinary ability to fly, triggered by the collapsing physical laws from his repeated universe jumps, brings Dylan to a grim realization. He now sees the full extent of the havoc he has wrought, a paradox where countless versions of himself are locked in a perpetual cycle of murder and revenge. In this moment, Dylan understands the futility and destructiveness of his quest to reunite with Andre by manipulating the multiverse. His actions have not only endangered countless universes, but have also trapped him in an endless loop of violence and self-destruction, with no true resolution or peace. In a final attempt to correct the catastrophic chain of events he triggered, Dylan resolves to travel to a universe where he has not yet invented the multiverse traveling machine. His plan is drastic. He intends to kill the version of himself in this universe to prevent the cycle of universe hopping from ever starting. Dylan locates such a universe and, in a desperate act, drives a truck toward his unsuspecting self, who is saying goodbye to Andre. However, in a tragic twist, Dylan inadvertently hits Andre instead. This accident reveals the most shocking twist of all. The original accident that led to Andre's death at the beginning of the story was caused by none other than Dylan himself, who had come from the future. This realization hits him with the full weight of his actions. He is the architect of his own misery and the cause of the endless cycle of suffering across countless universes. As Andre lies dying, Dylan apologizes, overwhelmed by the magnitude of his mistakes. He has not only failed to save Andre, but has also caused the destruction of numerous universes. At this moment, the fabric of space-time, strained by Dylan's constant travel and disruptions, begins to reject him. The universes where Dylan had interfered start colliding and disintegrating, each one erasing itself from existence. Witnessing this cataclysm, Dylan is consumed by regret, realizing that his obsessive quest has led to unimaginable destruction. Ultimately, Dylan himself is erased from space-time, his existence wiped clean as if he had never been. The story closes on a universe where Dylan never invented the multiverse machine and where no tragic accident ever claimed Andre's life. In this universe, they live together, happily unaware of the potential horrors their other versions faced. If you're curious to know how many universes Dylan visited throughout this saga, try to count them and share your answer in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this mind-bending journey. Thank you for watching.